the Chicago Cubs are going to the National League Division Series to face off against their division foe, the Milwaukee Brewers. The Cubs escape the Padres and are going on in the playoffs. Absolutely exciting. We're about to break it all down right here. A preview of the Milwaukee Brewers series. Let's get into it, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to today's edition of Cubs Daily. My name is Steven Ryan. The matchup the NL Central has been waiting for all season, right? The Cubs took a pretty healthy lead first half of the year. The Brewers went on an absolutely historic run in the second half to steal the Central from the Cubs, winning by 5 games. And now we are primed for a matchup to go to the National League Championship Series. It's absolutely exciting stuff. I thought the last round was super stressful. The stress levels in this guy right here are through the roof, okay? The Brewers have been a thorn in our side for more than 5 years now, right? They've had a stranglehold on the Central Division since 2018. Absolutely incredible job by their staff, right? They don't extend players. They don't really, pay a lot of money for players. They make smart trades. Their development is absolutely incredible, and you're going to see it a lot here in this series, okay? It doesn't get much better than this, right? 5-game set to go to the National League Championship Series. Let's just hop right into it, okay, ladies and gentlemen? So the Cubs will be facing off against Freddy Peralta in Game 1. Freddy Peralta is an absolute stud, okay? I don't know if you guys know this. I'm sure I've talked about it before here on the channel when the Cubs played the Brewers. But he has one of the lowest opposing batting averages of all time, okay? He's up there with some of the greatest pitchers to ever step on the mound. Absolutely incredible stuff by Freddy Peralta, and he's the ace of their staff, right? And he's just on such a great team-friendly deal. They're obviously going to pick up his option next year for only $8 million, and they're going to hopefully run it back again, right? Freddy Peralta used to be kind of the 4th or 5th guy on the staff, right? Because it used to be Corbin Burns, it used to be Brandon Woodruff. Brandon Woodruff is still with the team. He was having a really good year, but I believe he got injured and he's going to be out for this division series. But Freddy Peralta, man, the ace of this staff, no doubt about it. He's going to be a tough matchup in Game 1. The really exciting part about this series, ladies and gentlemen, is that the Cubs know that they can beat the Brewers. The Brewers also know they can beat the Cubs, right? We have a lot of experience against each other. The Cubs did win the season series 6-5. Again, that's just how close this stuff is, right? In postseason baseball, razor thin margin of error. One pitch you miss, game over. It's crazy how it works. So we'll see what version of Freddy Peralta we're going to be getting, what version of the Cubs we're going to be getting. With this new playoff format, one of the things I do not like about being one of the top seeds is you have pretty much a whole week off before postseason baseball. And again, it's an adjustment from regular season to postseason intensity regardless, right? You can't just sit there and be like, yep, I'm ready for postseason baseball. It's not that simple. You still have to get in there and play the game. So very curious to see how this matchup is going to be playing out. Again, the Cubs running thin, with pitching. They threw Tyone in Game 3. And so maybe Game 1, we're going to be chucking up to the bullpen. We will wait to see what Craig Counsell is going to announce for the squad here. But again, Game 1 is going to be tomorrow, I believe early on, if I read the schedule correctly. So it's going to be a fun matchup again. Hopefully the Cubs can get it done and get to the National League Championship Series. Again, going to be exciting as heck. So how do the Cubs stack up with the Milwaukee Brewers, right? It's kind of a tale of two things, right? If you talk to Brewer fans, they tell you the Cubs spend money like crazy. Talk to Cubs fans, we don't spend enough money apparently. And the Brewers are just absolutely brilliant at their player development, right? They've been doing it for well over a decade now. All types of players. Christian Yelich was a trade deal, right? Absolutely fantastic deal made for him. He's actually probably the largest contract extension that the Milwaukee Brewers have ever had. It was like a 10-year $200 million deal or something like that. It was an absolute steal for the Milwaukee Brewers. But again, Bryce Terang, who's had an absolutely sensational year, product of the system. Sal Frelick, product of the system. And, I know Andrew Vaughn was a White Sox, but just remember, they picked him up off the waiver wire. Product of they saw him fit in the system. They tweaked some things. He did amazing. They found Quinn Priester right on the Red Sox. They're like, hey, come here, change some mechanics, fixed him. The Brewers are absolutely unbelievable at finding someone with a problem and making sure they are fixed. So, in terms of name power, the Cubs might have a little bit more notoriety across the league, but the Brewers have the best record of baseball, and there's no ifs, ands, or buts about that. The Brewers are amazing at making contact with the baseball. Okay, they might not have the most power in all Major League Baseball, but again, they don't make mistakes. They make the right play, right? If there's a runner on first, they make sure he gets the second. They make sure the runner gets the third, et cetera, et cetera. They hit sacrifice flies. They do the whole line. They wear you down thin. But in the regular season, that plays well. 100% I agree. But in the postseason, the ball needs to leave the yard. And that is where the Cubs are going to have to find that advantage against the Milwaukee Brewers, okay? It's going to come down to great defense, which both of these teams do. It's going to come down to good base running, which both of these teams do. It's just which one can match up better in each of these games. The Brewers are going to have home field advantage for the first two. It's going to come to Wrigley for two more. And then Game 5 back at, American Family Field or something like that now? Miller Park for all of us who grew up in the mid-2000s. But the Cubs are going to have to, pinch and squeeze. Like, Kyle Tucker is going to have to show up for this series if we're going to have a chance, right? He's going to have to expand the lineup. He's going to have to extend things. And Ian Happ, God bless him, but he's not a three-hole hitter. He's helped this team in the three-hole so far, but I think it's time to mix it up. PCA, he's going to have to start laying off some pitches. The Cubs need to really get into that taking pitches, working that pitch count up for Freddy Peralta, and squaring that baseball up. You're like, Steven, that's the game of baseball. I'm like, yeah, I know. I get what you're saying, but that's what you have to do in this situation. You got to hit the ball hard, and you got to hit it hard where they ain't. So the Cubs are going to find advantages in the power game. They're going to have to hit more home runs. They're going to have to steal some bases as well. William Contreras is one of the best catchers in baseball as well. They got him in a trade. Just an absolutely great deal on all fronts for the Brewers. I haven't seen a trade that they've missed on, right? I mean, they've just been incredible at that. So it's going to be a battle of two different philosophies again, but a battle of the NL Central foes, and I am beyond excited. So, game one, curious to see who the Cubs are going to throw out there. They could use Soroka. Again, depending on the roster, they can use Soroka. They can use, maybe Javier Assad goes game one as well. I can't imagine anyone else. Maybe Colin Ray if his arm is rested. But, I then think Matt Boyd is going to go game two. Game two is going to be on Sunday. Matt Boyd pitched on Tuesday. That is only 4 days rest. But, again, it's the postseason. We're all in, baby. You can't be, going down 0-2. We need Matt Boyd to pitch as much as possible. And then we're probably going to throw Shota back out there as well with Tyone and, Colin Ray on the back end to hopefully seal this series for us. So, the fun thing is, the number one seed gets to line up their pitching the way they want it. But, coming in as the wild card, yeah, you don't have your best pitchers going in the first two games. But if you can steal one of those games, you're going to have your best pitching at home. And that is where series can be won, and that is where the Cubs might have an advantage in this one. So I'm hoping that's the case in this situation. You know me, I generally lean on the positive side of things in terms of Cubs baseball, but baseball is a game of failure, right? All the best successful hitters, they still fail like 72% of the time, man. It's great, and especially in today's game where league average is down to 240, it's getting harder and harder to hit the baseball where they ain't, especially given the new rules with the shift and all that stuff. So I think the Cubs are going to win this series. But again, I think the Cubs match up against any team in baseball. And I think if the Cubs are playing their best, we can win. So, hoping you guys have a great rest of your day. I am going to be back on Monday. I just want to give you guys a heads up. I am on a vacation with my family. We'll give you guys the update on the series then. Otherwise, I will talk to you all very soon. See ya.